Today's topic is under the Entreprenetics, the Psychology of the Entrepreneur Mind series, and it's the analysis of Abraham Lincoln and his failure gaps. Now, we all seen the quotes about his life and how he failed and failed and failed until he became the President of the United States of America. And you know, there's lots of quotes on that, but what I did was something different. I wanted to know his failure gaps and what did he do during those failure gaps. So for instance, you see in a lot of different data points where in 1832 he was defeated for state legislature, and then in 1833 he failed in business. Well, what they don't really talk about is, you know, they talk about him, his sweetheart dying in 34, and he had a nervous breakdown in 36, but what they don't talk about is some of the success points. So somewhere in between 1833 and 1834, I'm not an Abraham historian, so I'm basing it on the other historical data, is that he was elected to Illinois state legislature. And when you look at his failures and the gaps between his failures and successes, you see a pattern. This is a guy that failed, picked himself up, and continued to move forward. And so why, I think in my opinion, is why he's a great legend is because when you look at his success and failure rate, or his gaps, you see something. Like for instance, he failed and then there's a failure gap. This is what I call failure gaps. And then he failed again as an example, and of course then he hit a success. So he hit a success point. And then there was a success period, and then he failed again, and so on. And it was like a roller coaster ride in a weird way. But one of the things I did learn from him is that one key thing about Abraham Lincoln that every entrepreneur, or anyone in fact, should learn from is that what did he do during those failure gaps? Well, it is for certain he self-educated himself. He became smarter. And so for instance, eventually he became an attorney. And of course we know he became a legend as being a president of the United States of America. But what you do during your failure gaps, failure, and then move forward to success is critical to the outcome of obviously being successful. And also what you do after you failed and then you became successful, and let's say you failed and there's a gap and you became successful, and then now there's a successful point and now you're trying to do something else. Well, what you do in that interval obviously makes a difference. But one key component I want to say to you is no matter how successful you are, you have to evolve your entrepreneur mind. And the best way to evolve it is through self-education. I'm a big proponent of self-education. And the reason is really simple. When you self-educate yourself, then you know everything is on the line and you have to rely on your brain to put you through between those failure gaps.